All right, Nick, let's talk about the Detroit Lions. This time of year, I think any channel you go to, anywhere you look, you're going to hear all about maybe some new free agents who've come over, maybe some young rookies who are doing really well. But we have a guy who maybe got lost in, the mix up last year. A guy from the 2023 draft class who's now starting to maybe shine a little bit brighter, being noticed by Dan Campbell a little bit more this offseason. I think this is some big news for the Lions. Let's get into the article and then we can talk more about it on the other side. This is from over on the Yard Barker. It says Campbell spotlighted a player he believed could take a big leap forward this season. Brandon Joseph, who signed with the Lions out of Notre Dame as an undrafted free agent in 2023, Campbell said that Joseph has noticeably improved from last year and has what it takes to not just succeed, but to thrive at the safety position in defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn's defense. He said, in this defense, if you can understand conceptually what an offense is doing and the freedom you have at the safety position, you can thrive at the safety position in our defense, Campbell said, according to reporter Nolan Bianchi, again from the Yardbarker. Nick, I think these are some big words from Campbell. He's saying a lot of high praise for Joseph. I think this is great news for the Lions. But, Nick, I want to hear what you have to think on this topic before we get to you, though, Lions fans. In the comment section below, we're talking about the defense. And I think that's probably been the weak point of this team for a while. But the offense really has been quite good. But I think there's some new additions on this offense that potentially could strike your fancy this offseason. So let us know who on the offense, new player or a free agent who's come over, do you think could really show out in this offseason period, mini camp, training camp, going into preseason? Let us know who you're keeping your eyes on in the comment section below. But Nick, what do you think about Joseph?
So I think it's important to understand, and we kind of forget this sometimes in the media or fans, right? Where a player gets drafted or an undrafted free agent in Joseph's case, and he doesn't do a lot his rookie year or he disappoints, and you just kind of sit there and say, okay, that's who he is as a player, right? It's like a Madden video game, right? You drafted a player or you signed a player in this case, and he's 50 overall. He stinks. Let's move on, right? That's sort of what we kind of think the NFL world is like. But the reality is players get better, right? They don't stay the same. Sometimes they get worse. Sometimes they, get a little bit better. Sometimes they get a lot better. And it's not uncommon for undrafted free agents or late round draft picks or even first round picks for that matter to have really rough rookie years and to make big improvements into their second season. In fact, we talk about it all the time. It's so weird to me where a lot of NFL teams and certainly people in the media as well will sit there and say, like a rookie quarterback, a first round pick, he has a rough rookie year. Like, well, it's his rookie year. He'll figure it out. But at other positions, right, if a guy has a tough rookie year or doesn't play a lot or whatever, then we're just like, yeah, he stinks. Get rid of him. Right. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't jive. Right. And that creates an opportunity for teams like the Lions that are very focused on player development, player growth, putting players in situations to be successful to allow for these players to grow and develop and get better. And this is one of the key parts about the Lions being so stable in terms of front office, in terms of head coach Dan Campbell, in terms of defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn, in terms of their offensive coordinator too. This is a team that's consistent and steady. In a lot of ways, it reminds me of a college program like those old Clemson dynasty teams where they kept everybody in place and allowed players, recruits to come in and get better and better. By the time they're second or third year in the program, they'd reach their maximum level. That's what we're seeing with the Lions, and that's what Joseph is an example of right here. Because look, Lions fans, look, obviously safety, defensive back, not a great position for you last year. Of course, rookie Branch is really good. Kirby Joseph has his moments as well. But the reality is you need multiple safeties. You need guys for substitution packages, nickel, dime defense, special teams, of course. Or if nothing else, you need a quality backup because we do know injuries will happen. It's just a reality. And if you're a contender, the last thing you want to do is to have one guy go down and you have a backup that can't get the job done and that costs you a playoff game. We've all seen that happen a bunch of times in NFL history, of course. So having a veteran savvy guy who's getting better and better like Joseph is, I think is a great sign for the Lions. And look, this is what Detroit does, right? They allow players to grow and get better and develop. We've seen this from another prospects, and this is just another example of it right here.
Yeah, Nick. And we talk about Brandon Joseph. We talk about the Lions. The Lions safeties, they have two strong safeties on this team. So yeah, this is a guy gonna get buried in the depth chart. Got no reps last regular season. but he did get a lot of reps in the preseason, 129 to be exact. And, that's what we talk about right now is sometimes we'll say OTAs, people say it doesn't matter, but that's all you have to go on right now. For Joseph, all you have to go on is his preseason performance from last season. So I want to throw these numbers at you and then reiterate they're saying he is now better. So I think this is pretty impressive. First off, he had a 76.9 overall grade on the defensive side of the ball, 77.5 coverage grade. And he was a sure tackler, an 85.9 tackling grade as well. Now we see what his actual stats were. He had an interception in the preseason. This is a guy who was targeted 3 times. He only allowed 1 catch. For how long, you might ask? -1 yards. So this is a guy who did a lot of really great things in the preseason, kind of locked down his side of the field. It is only the preseason, but that's all we had to go on. This is a guy, he didn't really get any opportunities in the regular season, so all we can talk about is what he did in the preseason. I think there's a lot to like there. I think there's a lot of intrigue there in what he was able to do. And the fact that now Dan Campbell's saying now he's getting it. He can see what the offense is going to do from the defensive perspective. Conceptually, he's putting it all together and he feels like he's better. I say Brandon Joseph, he looks like he could be a pretty darn good player. Keeps working his way up this ladder. I think this is going to be a guy that pops out and really surprises us pretty soon.
And again, I really like the fact you're bringing up preseason grades because they can't be discounted. Because even Brian Branch, who obviously I think is a better player than Joseph is right now, I think that's not debatable. He graded out in the 70s as well last preseason. So again, there is some history there. If you do well in the preseason, it kind of lends itself to doing well when the regular season starts. So we're starting to see that momentum from Joseph. And I love what you said there. That was him before Dan Campbell noticed this massive improvement. If that's what he was last year and he was doing some good things in preseason, he's likely going to be a much more significant contributor to this Lions defense in 2024.